Man, here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man. So the way things is looking, man, it's looking like that Eddie Hearn has a new problem, Joe. Now we know Eddie Hearn announced a few months ago that, he had this big deal with DAZN. He's supposed to make about $1 billion if I guess the whole deal went through as planned, but who knows if that may happen, if he may make it through to $1 billion because this money has to be generated and he has the dates to do it, he has the budgets to do it. But the problem is he don't have the fighters to do it. And now we see what's playing out in Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua situation, where it's starting to look more and more clear that Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn stalled this thing out for the sake of trying to get Anthony Joshua not only out of that Showtime deal, but to shop around this fight. And he wanted to take this fight to DAZN. And, my thing is a lot of fight fans are now like, oh, well, Eddie this or Eddie that. But my thing is this kind of helps Deontay Wilder in one way or another. Because at first, Deontay Wilder didn't know the reason as to why they were stalling. They were, he was running around saying that AJ is he's a coward, he's less of a man, he's this, he's that, he's this. And it was really unclear. I didn't understand the reason why either, but other than I knew that AJ was a project and there's a lot invested to him. And then, he's being guided by handlers very, very, gently, if you will. And so here now, we at a position where it looks like that Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn this whole time just wanted to get this fight on DAZN or another network, or they wanted to shop this fight around to other networks, because that's what's going on now. Well, here you see now Eddie Hearn is saying or indicating that when he put this fight on next April, if he puts this fight on next April, he wants to put this thing down on DAZN. Double crossing Showtime. See, he waited because Anthony Joshua signed a 3-fight deal with Showtime. And he waited to the end of that deal to leave Showtime. And I'm sure the thing that helped Anthony Joshua to get that deal with Showtime was the fact that Eddie Hearn promised them that, hey, I'm going to get him the Deontay Wilder fight and I'm going to put it on Showtime. Y'all going to get the first bids. Well, look what happened. The second that Anthony Joshua's deal is up, he takes him off Showtime and now he's moving him on to DAZN. So he's now got an enemy within Showtime, which is big because Showtime put on a lot of American heavyweights. And the one thing that Eddie's problems are starting to target down to is the one audience that he has to win to make all of this come together is the Americans. He has to come to the American market and win the American market in order for anything that he's doing right now to be successful. Because see, in DAZN, when they gave Eddie this opportunity, it wasn't because they just loved Eddie Hearn's stable. It's because Eddie Hearn came to them and told them, look, man, I'll give y'all this AJ and Wilder fight. And this will bring y'all the American market because there will be so many people that will subscribe to DAZN for this particular fight that y'all going to have all y'all need. So I'm starting to wonder now, does DAZN even care about the other fight dates? We see Eddie Hearn making offers to other fighters, trying to get them to fight on DAZN. He's compromising his deal, like saying that, look, y'all don't have to sign an exclusive deal with me. We can go on a fight-by-fight basis. He's doing whatever he can to try to lure big-name fighters. The only problem is he ain't pulling out big enough numbers. Now, at the end of the day, Richard Schaefer is now becoming Eddie Hearn's number 2, a big threat to Eddie Hearn's plan. Because Richard Schaefer, who months ago spoke in an interview about the DAZN and Eddie Hearn deal, stated that at the end of the day, DAZN was just looking to grab the American market, and you got to have the fighters. Richard Schaefer was making a case then, and people just didn't know it. He was making a case months ago that, look, man, you need the American fighters, DAZN. You need the American markets. Guess what? I'm your guy. That's what Richard Schaefer was doing. See, he was pitching a sales pitch. You know what I'm saying? And now Richard Schaefer has wiggled his way onto DAZN, getting the World Boxing Super Series Season 2, now being featured, from all weight classes on DAZN. What is that, like 15 dates? Now, the 140 World Boxing Super Series looks to be promising. It's going to be some good names involved. He's going to lure some subscribers with that. I mean, you're talking some really good names. Josh Taylor. You got Regis Prograis there. You got Relic there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good fighters at 140 that's joining this World Boxing Super Series tournament. So that's going to bring up some numbers. Now let's think about what Richard Schaefer did to Oscar De La Hoya when he did the coup of Golden Boy Promotions. When him and Oscar, he was the co-CEO of Golden Boy Promotions. He was not signing all those PBC fighters in exclusive contracts with Golden Boy, something that Oscar thought he was doing. And he delivered all of those fighters who were fighting for Al Heyman. He basically gave them their freedom away from Golden Boy, and they can sign or fight for any promoter that they wanted. Something that was very detrimental to Golden Boy Promotions, because now they're only relying on one fighter, and that's Canelo. So Richard Schaefer has a great relationship with Al Heyman, delivering all of those fighters, not locking them in exclusive deals, letting them navigate whatever networks they, bringing them all over to Showtime, because a lot of those fighters were on HBO at first. He did Al Heyman a solid. And if there's anybody that can pick up the phone and call Al and say, look, man, he needs some fighters on the network, it's Richard Schaefer. Eddie Hearn making attempts to try to get Mikey Garcia. And the Mikey Garcia and Robert Easter Jr. fight that's coming up, well, look who promoting it? Richard Schaefer. So this was a fighter in which Eddie Hearn wanted to bring onto the zone, and you got Richard Schaefer promoting him over on Showtime. Richard Schaefer is the one that got the inside connect to the fighters. He's the one more closer to Al Heyman than Eddie Hearn is. Now, I ain't saying that Hearn can't lure none of those fighters, but he gonna have to dig extra deep. Like, he gonna have to pull up a bigger number than anybody else for the position that he's in, for the people that he's pissed off. The network. This is the position that Eddie Hearn can only wish that he was in. Eddie Hearn is now called out Shelly Finkel. He had little slick things to say about Al Heyman. You know what I mean? Talk bad about his fighter. Rejected their offer. Disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Try to say, act like they didn't have the money. And now, these are the exact same entities that you need to be successful. And Richard Schaefer has peeped your deal. Peeped that DAZN has budgets and has money, and they looking to get into the American market. Man, Richard Schaefer may be taking that opportunity away from Eddie. It's just the type of person that Richard Schaefer has proven himself to be. So I'm just saying, man, Eddie Hearn look like he got another problem now. And it's called Richard Schaefer. Richard Schaefer don't quit. He's a veteran of this game. He got a lot of good contacts, man. People don't know Richard Schaefer is a very powerful dude behind the scenes. Check his former job working for the Swiss bank. He got connections to the money. He got connections to the connections. He got connections to the people that help fund PBC. Y'all better get help. So Eddie Hearn is making enemies. He's double-crossed Showtime, pulling Anthony Joshua off that network, not giving him the fight. Now Deontay Wilder knows exactly what Eddie Hearn's goal is, and that's to get this fight on DAZN. So guess what? Now Deontay Wilder can just wait out Eddie Hearn. Because guess what? The pressure is going to rise on Hearn before it rises on Wilder. After the American fan base has now seen that Deontay Wilder has tried to do everything he can do to make the fight, and they're convinced, well, we giving him passes now. We like, yo, we down. We don't care if he go fight Brazil, whoever he want to go fight, because he tried to get the fight with Joshua. And now Eddie Hearn has the pressure because DAZN is going to come around and say, hey, what have you done for us lately? The Alexander Povetkin and Anthony Joshua fight is not going to win the American audience. See, people got to keep that in mind. That is DAZN's goal. They have darts and everything else that's bringing other, people from other parts of the world. But they don't got the Americans. You know what I mean? And not to mention they got a lot of competition here in America with other apps and other streaming services. So Eddie Hearn's got to deliver this fight. And Deontay Wilder knows it. And Al Heyman knows it. And so now the bargaining becomes much more different because the pressure will rise on Hearn. Who else you going? This is what I keep telling people. People like, yo, man, AJ don't need no Wilder. He don't need Wilder. Y'all can talk that talk today. Y'all can talk that talk today. 1-2 fights go past, he's going to need Wilder. Y'all said, well, he got Tyson Fury. We don't know how long it's going to take Tyson Fury to get back into major contention. We don't even know if Tyson Fury is going to get that far. That remains to be seen. At the end of the day, it's the Wilder fight. And now Wilder has a better bargaining hand, knowing exactly what the goal of Matchroom Boxing is. So this is good. So maybe he'll get more money out of the situation. You already see that Matchroom's coming around, even with the April deal. Is what, the fifth? Oh no, they already offered them 15 million, so they're gonna have to definitely take that all the way up. But we hear Wilder asking for 50-50 now. You know, hey, that's what he feels as though he entitled to for now. But if he lands about 45 to 40, 40 to 45, he'll be a happy camper. Trust me. We'll see how Eddie Hearn moves, man. He got Richard Schaefer now peeping that deal, and he coming for it. So that's the problem. That's going to be a major problem. And Eddie Hearn going to soon see Richard is the one with the connections. So that's going to be a major issue for Eddie Hearn. But we'll see how it works out, man. We keeping our eyes peeled, and we'll just see how it all works out. So, man, I hope everybody having a happy 4th of July, man. Thought I'd get this vid off, man, you know, for the 4th or whatnot, man. And hope everybody shooting them fireworks, being safe. Hope y'all threw the barbecue out there, man. Send me a plate. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, man. But I hope y'all enjoyed y'all 4th of July. To the next video, Main Man Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe to Twitter, Made Man 511. Facebook, Main Man Made Man Boxing Forum. Google Plus, Main Man Made Man. Yeah, man. Yo, I'm just wondering, man. Eddie his deal is under threat. The pressure's going to rise, and eventually the names are going to start to get short for AJ. I mean, like I said, Dillian White's rematch. What he talking? He ain't trying to do the Luis Ortiz fight. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? Eventually, the name Deontay Wilder is going to be like the only remaining name that makes sense for Eddie Hearn and AJ. Just watch. To the next video. Peace out.